Hey, I'm Ken Rossignol with the Chesapeake Today. We're here in Lexington Park in front of the original Lexington Park McKay's Foodland. With Tommy McKay is running for County Commissioner President in the Republican primary July 19th of 2022. Tommy, you're sitting in front of your family business, one of the original stores. You're running as a businessman to bring to bear your experience. Can you tell us what it's been like for the last 3 or 4 years, especially the last 2 or 3 years, trying to run a business and the challenges it brings right now, and how you think that will profit the voters if they hire you as Commissioner President?
Thank you, Ken. My parents started our business in 1948. This was not the original location here. The original location is in Hollywood. We still are, it's in its 3rd generation there, and we're still operating there. This location was opened around 1962, and then of course in the mid-80s we moved to a new location down the street from Great Mills, down on Great Mills Road. Yeah, I think very few people understand what has happened through the COVID period, especially the small and local businesses. I don't think anybody could have predicted what was going to happen. I certainly didn't. In 2019, we were making plans. We had 5-year, 10-year, 20-year plans, and we knew the industry was going to evolve. We knew things were going to change, but we never knew how fast things would change as a result of COVID. How the supply chain would change, how labor would change, how markets would, the way people went to market for groceries would change, how Amazons of the world would suddenly be able to deliver products into people's homes at a rate that we thought would be 2050 before they would hit that level. And by 2021, they're at the 2050 level that we predicted them to be at. It changed everything, Ken, not just for McKay's, but for lots of local small businesses. And I think understanding, where we are today, I could go to our family, our stockholders, and say, let's borrow $2 million more to get our inventory levels back to where they were pre-COVID. Let's go borrow $6-7 million more to get our stores in condition they need to be in going forward. Let's spend another $1 million to get our IT up to where it needs to be, because the competition has used IT during COVID to really expand their market share. So let's go invest in IT and get it to where it needs to be. The question is, though, Ken, and we've been evaluating over the horizon for years, where will we be 5 years from now in the grocery industry? Where will we be 10 years? And is that the wise investment? Is that the wise thing to do? And when you're having to make decisions, borrowing millions of dollars of your money and your shareholders, for yourself and your shareholders, and committing them to that repayment of that, you have to really analyze and do your market analysis and understand what will change in 10 years and how you're going to pay that money back. And as a county commissioner, I think that having the experience of making those kinds of decisions in the private sector are hugely beneficial in the public sector. Because you see, in the public sector, you can borrow off the taxpayer's credit card, and you never have to think about how are they going to pay it back if you don't want to. I want to think about how it's going to get paid back. I want to think about what kind of return we're going to have when we borrow money on behalf of the citizens of St. Mary's County. When we raise our budget like they're doing this year, they're spending 12.5% more this year than they did last year. Well, when we do a budget in the private sector, we don't just budget how we spend it, we have to budget how we're going to raise it. We have to budget what we're going to do to be competitive out there to earn your business. In county government, they just simply tax you. They don't have to earn your business, they tax you. And that tax money is guaranteed to them. whether they give you good services or not, whether they give you good education or not, whether they give you good services in Parks and Rec. It doesn't matter whether you want to pay for it or not, you get taxed. And if you don't pay your taxes, they come get your property. It's not that way in the private sector. We work hard for every dollar that we get. We have to provide customer service. And every business has a life cycle. And when you are reaching the peak of your life cycle and your industry is changing, the model that you go to market with has changed, you have to evaluate that as a business person, and you have to make a decision. Where do we go from here? What do we do next? And that's where we are as a company. That is where many, many small businesses in our community are right now today, trying to see over the horizon, how much do I invest back into my business today, given the changes that have occurred because of COVID, and are with us for a long, long time, probably forever now, those changes. What do we do with our business model if it's not the appropriate model for the next 5, 10, 15 years? And that's where we are as McKay's. We are trying to make sure our staff is protected and taken care of. We're trying to make sure we do the right thing for our customers. But I have shareholders that I have to be responsible to. And I also have to make a good decision for them as well.
Okay, as County Commissioner President, one of the biggest problems I can see right now is this Board of Commissioners, as you say, just puts a tax out there to pay for the things that they want, what their staff tells them they want. They want a $26 million sheriff's palace. They don't even have a space needs study or a citizen committee that's been a filter for it. They just decided this is what we need. How will you make sure, as County Commissioner President, that we don't see any more of that?
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. And this is what we're doing in our own business today, as I just illustrated. We are studying what is the correct investments going forward, how much debt can we truly handle, and or more importantly, how much should we take on to avoid risk in the future? And that's where we are as a county right now today as well. We have this current Board of County Commissioners has taken us to a debt level that we've never seen before in the history of our county. Our debt service is currently at $160 million. Never before have we been close to that. And they wanted to borrow $30 million more this year. They have plans to borrow $100 million more over the next 5 years. All you have to do is go onto the website, go to finance at the county website, click on the budget for this year, and you will see the capital budget out for the next 5 years. And you will see all of the bond borrowing that they plan to do over the next 5 years because of the projects that they're starting right now today. And they're going to accumulate this debt over the years. And I'm telling you, we cannot, at a time when gas is $5, $6 a gallon, when electric bills are causing consumers to spend $100, $200 more a month for their homes. By the way, just not that I want to share information, but in our business, in our company, with our large facilities that we operate, 60,000 square foot facilities that use a lot of energy. When SMECO announced a 27% increase in electricity, that cost our company $30,000 a month. A month. That's just one of the costs that we as a company, we as a small business, local business, and you as a homeowner have to evaluate going forward and be prepared to be able to pay these costs as your mortgage rates, interest rates go up for those who have variable rates, as your property values go up and your tax bill goes up with it. These are all things that we have to be prepared for as a community. And I want to make sure that your government, your local government, is not the problem. That we're doing everything we can to minimize the tax, to make sure you get the services you need, make sure you have the best schools, the best law enforcement. But we don't do that by borrowing money year after year after year, like this board plans to do, and has not just plans to do. You go back and look since 2016, they have been to the bond market to borrow money 4 out of the last 6 years.
And they're an all-Republican board.
It doesn't make any sense. I can't figure it out. I hear them say, well, interest rates are low, now's a good time to borrow. And I look at their bonds, and their rates are 4 and 5% interest rates. That's not unusually low. In fact, Larry Jarbo, who I serve with, will tell you, I had the pleasure of actually interviewing with him just a few weeks ago, and we had a great board, and we were borrowing. Back then, we were refinancing some old county debt that was at 5 and 6%. We were refinancing it down to 2% back then. So when I see over the last four bond purchases that the county did, and I see 5% interest rates, and I see cost of building, there couldn't be a more expensive time to build. Materials are way high. It doesn't make sense.
It looks like the old Steny Hoyer, I'm a tax, spend Democrat, has waved a magic wand over this board. I mean, I can't understand it.
The only thing I can understand is that when you get into these offices, politicians are politicians, and they get into office and they want to please everybody. They want to do everything for everybody. You come to them, oh yeah, we'll do that for you. Yeah, we'll do that for you. You have to be able to say no. And that's what we're doing in our business right now. We're saying, wait a minute, this may not be the right way to go. Maybe we shouldn't borrow more money right now, given the economy, given what we're seeing. So those are decisions that are tough to make sometimes. They really are. It's tough to look a citizen in the eye and say no, but sometimes you have to do it.
On July 19th, if you can win this primary and win the general election against the Democrat that's running, will you have the time to devote to being Commissioner President?
I will. We are, one of the things that I mentioned, we are looking at how our business needs to change and how it needs to evolve. And one of those things, no doubt, will be that our model of 60,000 square foot supermarkets that look like Giant Food or look like Food Line, act like Food Line, that model is probably not going to work in the future. So we're looking at ways to change our strategy, and I think it's going to, in fact, I'm certain it's going to affect our day-to-day lifestyle for our company and our team. And it's going to create opportunities for us to do other things in other areas. And one of those things that I want to do is bring some of the ups and downs I've had in business, some of the challenges I've had, making sure that for 40 years our company is run well, and knowing that there's cycles to that. I want to make sure that I bring some of that experience and skill sets to county government. I don't have a ton of years left. I owe a lot to my community. I owe a lot to St. Mary's County. And I want to make sure that we're not leaving all of this debt to our kids, that we're not leaving a government so big that our kids are spending a lot of tax dollars trying to keep it going. I want them to stay here. I want them to be able to live here. I want them to have good jobs here. So yeah, I will have the time. I will make the time. I did before, and I will do it again.
Will you be spending a lot of vacation time at Emerald Isle, North Carolina, like the current Commissioner President does, or will you be spending your time here in St. Mary's County?
My wife, as most of you know, is the town administrator for the town of Leonardtown. And by the way, Chipper Nars, Dan Burris, these guys who served Leonardtown over the last 20 years have been phenomenal. They are the kind of model that most of us should look at and say, let's do business this way. But with that said, my wife is town administrator. She's been there for going on 23 years. She wants to stay longer. She's committed to that job, and that doesn't allow the opportunity for her to go on these vacations like many people have the opportunity to do. And you know, I'm just not that kind of guy either. I work my entire, retail is hard. Retail requires 24/7. We work 55 to 70 hours a week, every week, my wife and I. And that's our lifestyle. That's what we do. We enjoy it. We love it. We want that energy to go to our community. I'm envious of her almost every day that she can get up and go serve the citizens of Leonardtown. I really am envious of it. And she does it so well. And I want to do the same thing. I want to get up every day and go serve my community and do it well.
You're sitting here in Lexington Park. We have a 3-term county commissioner right now who wants to go on and become a member of the House of Delegates. But in the last 12 years, Lexington Park has declined into crime and businesses leaving the area. What will you do to turn that around when it seems to have been ignored so much over the last 12 years?
You know, we're sitting here in front of a business that I used to bag groceries in this place, you know, as a kid. The community here around it, you know, were our customers, and they still are in many ways. I loved Lexington Park, and I still do. I don't think the challenges that we're facing in Lexington Park, I don't think it's a law enforcement problem. I think it's a community problem. I think there's so many pieces to the puzzle. And what I want to do, I'll tell you exactly what I want to do. And I kind of led into this a little bit. I didn't know you were going to ask this question. When I was talking about my wife, I was talking about Leonardtown, and I was talking about the model government that they have, and you know, they bought Leonardtown back from the dead. And it was a lot of people that helped with that, a lot of reasons, but they did it, and it's thriving. And one of the ways they did that was with the type of services that local government was able to bring to the town of Leonardtown. And it wasn't really the local government bringing all the services, it was really the local government combining the community, bringing the community around in support of what they were going to do, and putting everybody in the same direction, everybody moving forward in one direction. And that's what Chip Bernars did, and that's what Dan Burris has carried on. So here's what I want to do. I want to go to the Board of County Commissioners when I'm elected, and I want to say, look, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, whoever we have, you know, I will work with any of them. And I want to recommend a new way for local government to serve Lexington Park. I want to take the model of Leonardtown. Now, I don't want to create another incorporated city. I don't want to do that. I don't want a municipality for Lexington Park. But I want to treat it like it is a municipality. And I want to take some of the members of our current staff in county government. I don't want to expand county government. I just want to reorganize it a little bit. And I want to take some of our current members, our current staff members, and I want to assign them specific jobs related specifically to Lexington Park, as if it were a municipality and that's their primary job. I want to ask the Board of County Commissioners to create a position, not new position, but to reassign into a new position, a town administrator for Lexington Park. I would also like to have a public works and public safety director for Lexington Park, and I would also like to have an education and economic development director for Lexington Park. And I'd like to bring all of those people out of existing jobs in county government where they have the expertise to do this, so that and I'd like to put them in an office building here in Lexington Park that the county owns. And I'd like for them to work every day, 7 days a week, making Lexington Park a better place by having focus on Lexington Park and pulling this community into one direction, the same direction. Now, all of these, the town administrator will still answer directly to the county commissioners, just like the county administrator does. But I think Lexington Park needs that today. I think we need that focus, we need that attention in order to rise the tide.
The county commissioners, when you were president, rotated around the county in different locations for public forums. The county commissioners now limit the public, if somebody has something to say, to 3 minutes once every 4 months. So actually you get 12 minutes in a year for the issue that you want to talk to this Board of Commissioners with. They are a board of czars, not a board of commissioners. What will you do to bring public forums back to life to let the public actually speak?
Isn't it amazing how you hire people to be your elected officials, and then they want to limit your input? I want your input. I want more input from you. I want more input from the public, and that is exactly why our board went to the Ridge Firehouse for public hearings, went to the Mechanicsville Firehouse, went to the Golden Beach Firehouse, went to every firehouse in this community and other places as well, other buildings, other community centers, wherever we could find a place in your neighborhood to hold public meetings. That's what we did, because why shouldn't we come to you? And that's what we will do in the future. We will, once a month, at least, we will be in a neighborhood away from Leonardtown, into your neighborhood somewhere, and we'll ask you to please come and tell us what's going on in your neighborhood that we need to be aware of. And when it comes to how much time you have, and any commissioner who sat with me, Commissioner Jarbo, Commissioner Raley, Mattingly, of course, Dement is passed, unfortunately, but they will tell you that, yeah, we would give you a time limit for your first time up so that everybody could get through, but everybody was allowed to come back to the podium, and we would talk to you for a half hour. You could talk for 45 minutes. And my Board of County Commissioners in the past and my Board of County Commissioners in the future will sit there until 11, 12 o'clock at night, if that's what it takes for you to inform us of what we need to be informed of.
In 1974, we talked before about the refinery building permit being passed out at lunchtime by a secretary in the county engineer's office to a representative of Stewart Oil Company. It seems like here in 2017, somebody went in and got a permit for a pot factory in a residential neighborhood in the critical areas. And we've got this huge facility run by people we don't even know who owns it. You can't find out who owns it. It's all hidden through trick LLCs. And they want more. They want to build another building there and more in other locations. And this Board of County Commissioners, in one way or another, and their staff, have allowed it. It exists. It didn't just get plopped down by a UFO. So, do you see the correlation back to 1974 in the refinery and the danger here where this is a refinery here, they're refining marijuana products into a chemical. There's not too much difference between that and refining oil.
And this is maybe worse because it's right in a neighborhood. It's surrounded by homes, people with children who've lived in that neighborhood for generations. And so this could be worse. We don't know what the effect of that chemical production is on the air around it. Studies have not been done yet. But yeah, I see exactly the same thing happening. And
do you think the people that have invested in it will come forward and defend their project and tell us why it's so good for us? Who are they? Will you come forward? Whoever's out there that's invested in this, do you think we'll see them show up?
So no, they're not going to show up. Their straw men will show up, but they're not going to show up. The similarity between what Stewart Petroleum wanted to do in St. Mary's County and what this cabal of rich people who we don't know who they are, and I can assure you some of them, some of the big money is not local. Some of the big money is coming from areas around the country where they've been growing marijuana for years, and they see the investment possibility here in St. Mary's County, and they're able to come in with their large checkbooks and get things done that you and me cannot get done in this community because we don't have those kinds of resources. And that's what Stewart Petroleum tried to do. They tried to do the same thing. Fortunately, our elected officials at the time got that thing to public referendum to let the public vote, let the public decide, and the public smashed it. The public said, heck no, we're not doing that in our community. And I can guarantee you, as I believe sincerely, that if the public were to have a voice on these marijuana factories, these chemical plants coming to St. Mary's County, I believe the citizens of St. Mary's County would smash it just as quick as they did the refinery. But even if they didn't, they are the ones who should decide. Such a drastic change in our community should be decided not by bureaucrats, not by people inside of county government. They should be decided by the citizens. Anything of that magnitude has to be decided by the citizens of St. Mary's County, whether it's through an election year where you have candidates running for or against an issue, or whether it's through a referendum. The citizens should decide these big picture issues. And there's no question, the big money players behind this pot factory, they don't want me to win this election. They don't want that to happen, because they know that if that happens, I'm going to call into question the right to farm legislation, because my board, along with Larry Jarbo and Kenny DeMent, we passed the right to farm legislation back in 2004. And I know that it's constitutional because every citizen in this community is allowed to farm on your property. You want to grow tomatoes, you want to grow onions, you want to farm your property, you can do it in St. Mary's County. That's the reason it's constitutional. This pot factory is not constitutional. It was built under that umbrella of the right to farm legislation, and it's not constitutional because it's a licensed grow. You have to have a license, and not every citizen can get a license. Therefore, it is not constitutional under the right to farm legislation in St. Mary's County.
Okay, that concludes our interview of Tommy McKay today. He's running July 19th, the Republican primary for St. Mary's Commissioner President. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you.